What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out, why does every Hollywood fantasy character have a British accent? You know, I think this might actually be true. Whenever I think back to movies I've seen a long time ago or movies I've seen relatively recently, generally speaking, most characters seem to have a British accent.
I don't know. I don't watch a lot of fantasy or movies in general. I will say Game of Thrones had a lot of British accents, and Lord of the Rings, which was a fantasy series. But I think in those cases, I don't know about George R.R. Martin, but Tolkien was British, I think. So, I mean, that makes sense, I guess. But I will say I've noticed, like, a lot of times the villain will have a British accent, or a character that they want to, like, be smarter.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
So
yes.
I've noticed that, but I don't know about the fantasy thing.
One I think about is like, what's the Luke, I am your father.
I didn't even think about that.
Right?
Is that an English accent?
I feel like it is in my head, but it's been a long time since I've heard it. I feel like it is in my head.
Darth Vader.
Yeah, Darth Vader. You know, I've never been into Star Wars. I'm more like the Star Trek, so I don't really know all those characters. But, like, I don't know. In my head,
I've never really thought about it.
I think that this is accurate. And, I mean, considering there's a video about it, obviously it probably is accurate to a certain extent.
Well, I wouldn't say it's every, but...
No, obviously not every single one, but you think about Hollywood being American, American movies.
Yeah, it's represented much more than...
Yeah, it is. And I'm very curious about why that is.
Maybe because it's different.
Yeah.
You know?
Or...
exotic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess it could be. And I do think that there is something, if it's a princess character, for example, or a prince... generally speaking, I think a lot of those stories and a lot of the fantasy stories probably originated out of Britain, and therefore maybe they are keeping the representation of where those stories are from. We don't have queens or kings, for example, in America.
Right, so it would make more sense.
You know, therefore it makes more sense. But when it comes to other fantasy characters, you got to wonder, like, it's very interesting. So anyways, guys, don't want to ramble too much on this. We're going to go ahead and jump in here and check out, why does every Hollywood fantasy character have a British accent?
Have you ever noticed this?
A message from the Lord Marshal himself.
How dare you show your back to me?
Oh dear.
In pretty much all American epic and fantasy movies,
look around you.
They all sound British.
How did it come to?
It's true.
Why does Hollywood insist on making all wizards, kings, and Romans sound British? The answer is rooted in empire.
It is so true. Like, just this little snippet here is easy to see that this is very, very accurate.
I think I've realized something about myself.
What?
When I'm watching something and an accent is English or another type of British accent, I don't really differentiate that when I'm watching it.
You know, this is
like I do other accents.
Yes, this is something that I've noticed. Well, I don't know about other accents. I can't really think.
Like Australian accent, I would notice.
Well, here's what I was going to bring up. I've noticed this about music. So many bands we've learned were British, over on the Patreon channel that, like, we didn't know before. We were kind of, I don't know, sometimes we were shocked, sometimes we were neutral about it, but we were kind of like, wow, that's interesting. Because it's like, even now, sometimes in these different bands, I can hear the British accent, but whenever I might have heard them in the past, I never heard the British accent. And I don't know why that is. And I also think back to cartoons and stuff growing up. And now looking back, I can think of some that had a British accent, but I never noticed it.
But at the time, yeah, it was just...
And I think because I wasn't so much looking into British culture and stuff at the time, that it was just there. It was just a part of it. But now that we're paying attention to the culture and whatnot in general, I think we're noticing that a lot more.
And how accents signify stature. During the early days of film, the British Empire covers nearly a quarter of the Earth's land.
Yeah, that's true.
In 1926, phonetician Daniel Jones coins the term received pronunciation, or RP, to describe the accent actively cultivated by the British elite.
We can set an example to the world which will encourage
upright people everywhere.
Blue sky, smiling at me.
The very next year, in Hollywood, the first talking motion picture releases. Al Jolson plays a poor Jewish man from the New York ghetto.
If I'm a success in this show, well, we're going to move from here.
Not quite British, but also not quite Jewish dude from the New York ghetto.
Yeah.
That's the transatlantic accent, America's answer to RP.
3 months ago, you promised to put me into society.
What do you do on a newspaper in the middle of the night?
It was invented to mimic the dropped R's,
Interesting.
articulated T's, and soft vowels of the Earth's British overlords. It became America's proper accent, and the standard for film characters of any social class.
Yes.
I have noticed that about
Yes.
older movies.
I wanted to say that a long time ago on some video. I was thinking about how like our accents. I was like, our accents have changed here, and that's what I'm
You were
thinking
basing
about.
it off of the old movies
Yeah.
that were a made-up accent.
Right. Yeah. That's crazy.
Now, please listen to me. You certainly can't think that I did that intentionally.
Well, if I could think, I'd have run when I saw you.
Then, in the first mainstream fantasy film,
This is the Wicked Witch of the West. She's worse than the other one was.
we see the beginning of a new trend. More contemporary American accents for common folk,
Scarecrows don't talk.
It's pleasant down that way, too.
Wow.
transatlantic accent for more powerful characters.
Do not arouse the wrath of the
To separate them, I think, yeah.
But by the 50s, the British Empire started crumbling, and being British was no longer aspirational.
We will certainly lose the trust and respect of the world.
Instead, Americans became obsessed with beatniks, greasers, method acting.
Oh, those cats.
The phony transatlantic accent became a thing of the past. But as America became the world's new empire, Hollywood grew obsessed with old empires, both real and imaginary. This is when ancient epic films truly took off. The transatlantic accent had a new home in this new genre, and so did RP.
Who's this serpent swallows up the others?
Go away. What will she think of you? Indeed, what will I think of you?
Directors began casting British actors as the less sympathetic agents of the ruling class, and American actors as the more sympathetic underdogs. By the late 60s, opposition to the Vietnam War reaches a peak. American imperialism is taking a dark turn, and pop culture's romance with empire grows cold. Until...
Ah. Star Wars.
Harkening back to the epics of the 50s and 60s, George Lucas gave RP and transatlantic accents to the Empire's leaders.
Where are those transmissions?
I've never noticed that or thought about it.
And he gave the scrappy underdog rebels American accents.
Everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
Romans work alone.
The use of RP and transatlantic accents as markers of power continue to this day.
How quaint.
While someday British-sounding accents may no longer evoke the grandeur of a lost empire,
It is my birthright.
That's exactly how I feel.
for now, at least your wizards, kings, and Romans will continue to sound British. Ish.
Wow. Okay.
Or more specifically, English.
Yeah. Mostly received pronunciation.
Yeah.
You know, that's interesting. So basically, received pronunciation, or at least coining that term, hasn't really been around all that long.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, 100 years, less than 100 years. I can't remember the exact year he said.
So if I was understanding the video correctly, and if he was correct in the video, received pronunciation was a made-up accent as a way to differentiate from lower class?
I don't think that's what they were saying. I think that, generally speaking, a certain area, I think that maybe the British monarch, like, you know, they were in a certain area. They were in the London area, you know, or whatnot, maybe. And I think that's, generally speaking, where most of the received pronunciation comes from, that general area down there. And I think maybe it's just the accent that they were already kind of speaking, and therefore it was associated with the elite, because a lot of the elite were probably centralized into one area.
Yeah.
And the working class were, you know, outside of that. And so I think that maybe that they called this accent, or, you know, the received pronunciation. And then we in America saw that as
exotic,
and well, that's the elite.
Yeah.
And so they start giving the power players, power characters this accent because it's the elite, it's the powerful.
Which, in that way, it makes sense because it helps differentiate the two sides, or
Yeah, and so the beaten down character, the smaller character, the average character has just a mainstream American accent, Midwest or something like that, because they aren't meant to be shown as elite. That's wild. I never knew that would be the reason why this is. It makes a lot of sense now, and I think that it does really make a lot of sense why still to this day a lot of the strong characters, the evil characters and whatnot, like the wizards and warlocks and everything, it makes sense because they are meant to show, even if they are evil, they're meant to be powerful. You know what I mean? And I think that's why they still do that to this day.
Yeah, the association.
Yeah.
This was really interesting. I think it reiterated the fact that I am accent blind when it comes to accents from the UK, as far as English and Scottish, probably. I don't notice them as much in movies. Like, it's just kind of like background information. They don't really stand out to me, which is why I didn't recall so many of these being that. But other accents, I notice right away. It's so weird. Since I've started this channel, I definitely notice it a lot more. Like when I watch. Yeah, it's on your radar more.
Yeah,
so.
I will say before that it wasn't really on my radar. It was more like accents in general have always blurred into the background to me. I didn't really ever notice accents because I think, it's one of those things. It's like if something's not a focus for you,
right,
you generally just, it's
background information. Yeah.
But anyways, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow us on our journey. Until next time, peace.